What is going on, YouTube? Dr. Way here, and welcome back to Doctor's DNA, man. This is part 7. Let's see. Yeah, this is part 7 of my Palworld series. And all I gotta say is welcome to the mid game. Okay? So, previously, really what you're trying to do is like get started, explore around a little bit, figure out what's what, kind of just getting a feel for the game. And then the first base I made was just me just basically throwing stuff down. I wasn't really thinking about how everything was and where I'm positioning all of the different buildings and items, facilities. In the mid game, you're going to build your first, I would say, hybrid base. So with a hybrid base, you're trying to kind of do everything at once, but it's like a well thought out kind of catch all. Eventually, when you get to the late game, is when you start to specialize your bases. Like you have a production base, you'll have probably like a farm base, breeding farm slash food farm base. And there's probably some other bases, but those are the main two. Like somewhere to breed, get food, then a place to make everything. Probably have a mining base too, but I don't want to get too far into that. I just want to kind of show some of the things that I did. I did a lot, and I'll explain why in a second. But I'll just kind of show the base. So this side is a little bit more fleshed out. This is like my fire side. I have a really higher end electrical furnace. This thing takes electricity to utilize in addition to the kindling. Then this is just a regular upgraded. I think I don't remember if I had this built. I probably did. It's pretty cheap. This is just an upgraded this cooking pot, and this is just an upgraded version. So think of the cooking pot and this I forget improved furnace are kind of like the tier two, and they don't require any electricity. A lot of the tier three stations require electricity. So you start to have a bigger demand for electric pals, like a level one electric trait pal will do the trick. You can't really, once you start getting into using more power with your facilities, you're going to need to get a better electric pal at that point. And then I think at the last video I still had Foxspark with like once you get to refined ingots, you really need something a bit stronger um to smelt the things quick enough because you need a lot of metal and you need a lot of metal relatively quickly. So that's kind of what I did over there with all of these feed boxes. I should show the feed box. With the feed boxes, I try to use jam filled buns. It's just berries and flour. So that's all I'm growing, berries and flour. Well, wheat that you can turn into flour. I put that in the first slot, and then you can just put cotton candy or honey. These are food items that can fit, that can go in here that don't spoil. So now, when they normally what would happen is when they get done harvesting the berries or the wheat, they would try to put it into a feed box if they can. Well, since it's filled up with everything else, it can't fit into here. So they automatically go here instead. Now I think I still have berries in this middle one here. So this is where the berries will be going. But if I were to make some more jam filled buns and put them in there, then the berries would go inside the fridge at that point. That's kind of the idea behind that. And then I got a feed box in kind of each station so they don't have to travel as far and they don't have to kind of collide as much with each other. As far as these boxes, I've just organized them by what's in there. Like these are skill fruit and schematics. It's kind of like these are wood, stone, and ores. All of my PAL materials are in here for the most part. Not all of them, but These is like all of the second tier material. So like you takes wool, turns into cloth. You can turn metal into nails. You can turn surfer. Like basically the second. These are like secondary, kind of like second tier materials that end up getting used into like a final product. That one's still empty. This one just has like enhancement items, XP, souls, manuals, that sort of thing. This is where I'm going to be putting my equipment. And then here's just like money and ammo. Okay. So then that's that. And then I just got a upgraded one here so that it can, because there's a lot of PAL materials. I think I already had those put up. This is what I was saying before, the medicine rack. I just put that there if they get sick, which they almost never do, so I keep them pretty healthy. You're already familiar with all of these benches here. Familiar with these benches, but you know the medicine. These are like the basic benches without electricity, tier 1. This one's tier 2 technically. Okay, and now let's get into kind of the bigger machinery. So this is a level 2 production assembly. And then you can start making some pretty high-end stuff. This is kind of like makes general goods, but can also do a little bit of everything. I don't think it can make spheres though. And then this is just for weaponry. But this isn't the upgraded assembly line, just the first one, which is the tier 1. And this is the sphere one. It's also it's tier 1. It just makes the spheres and the modules for the spheres. So a lot of times you'll have your generator pretty much at 100%, but once it's at 100%, it can't go more than that. So this is basically essentially just like a big ass battery, a whole bunch of batteries pinned together, and you can have extra capacity, which is really good at night because unless you have a PAL that can run electricity at night, there's at least one way I can think of how you could do that, but then you won't be have electricity at night. You could run out. I put a ranch here, so, and I'll get into this later, but they're basically to collect PAL oil. I'll get into that because the next part of this video, what I'm going to do is kind of explain, like, okay, how did I get all of this stuff, right? Like, what did I do? Because this is a pretty drastic change. And I'll kind of explain what I did. And I think how I'm going to break it down is going to make a lot of sense. It's just a crusher. This is the meal. I don't think I had the opportunity and press everything but what I'm supposed to. I don't think I had the opportunity to showcase that. But the meal you get relatively early, level 15. I just hadn't been making the wheat. And it just turns the wheat into flour. Boom. And then it just takes a PAL, a water PAL to run that. Okay, great. So and then I put an expedition station, kind of try to tuck it as far out of the way as possible. I mean, it's big as hell. It's really hard to do that. But now you can see if I auto assign now, it takes, since I have really good PALs, it takes like almost no time in comparison to the before. It was like 20 something minutes. It's like half the time, so it's pretty quick. I haven't done any other bosses. I wanted to save. I did do a few of the smaller bosses. I tried to save a lot of stuff that we can do together on here, but I did just kind of get to where I needed to get to kind of showcase the video. So for the next 10 minutes, I'll kind of explain some of the stuff that kind of gets you solidified into the mid game, and then I even made notes here. It's mainly all about making sure you have a steady flow of some key resources. At the most basic level, the most important one I think would be the coal and the coal and then the ore. So you need to come up with a strategy of getting that. Okay, there's a couple different ways you can go about doing that. For the ore, some people like to create up a whole nother production base, I guess mining base, where they'll have like the box, they'll have the power box, and they'll have a one box like next to it, and then they'll have some beds, maybe I don't know, you probably get away with like 6 or 7 pal beds. Um, you'll bring. Oh, I don't think people worry about the food. They just bring the food from the other base. So they set up this whole base that's kind of self-sufficient. Not really. Like it depends on how much investment you want to do, but in some form or fashion, they set up another base, and then they use pals to farm, and then some really good pals that you can utilize early on. That's relatively easy to get. Is you can use dew mud. But if you want to get do mud, you might as well get Digtoise. He has level 3 mining only, just honestly what you really want. And then you can find them all in here, Digtoise and do mud, all in there. And then when you are capturing them, you get a quite a bit of power oil, which can solve another problem that you have, at least temporarily, with the power oil. Um, and then so that's one way to do it. I didn't elect to do it that way, and I'm gonna explain why. So if you go to this desolate church here, okay, and you fast travel, there's quite a few spots around the map that have um a lot of ore like this, where it's like clustered together. So essentially, what I do, and I'll show you how fast this can be once you know what you're doing. Um, if you can get one of these guys, and they just drop at meteors, so they have a chance to spawn at any of these meteor sightings, and it's pretty common, but they have a super legit ability that makes it where you deal more damage to ores. I mean, so you absolutely do an insane amount of damage to the ores. So it doesn't really take very long, as long as he's in your party. It doesn't really take very long for you to mine. So I'm mining, right? And then I'm over encumbered, but that's okay because I'm just gonna pull out this, and then I'm right whacking the rocks, right? And you see how fast I'm going. Like I can do this in real time, no problem. Like it's really quick. So instead of it's not a passive, so I still have to come here and get the metal, the ore, but for how much time it takes me at this point. Plus, I have boosted race. Like if I didn't have boosted race, it wouldn't be like as much. Like I understand that, which is probably why some people end up using um the base, because if they have a server, then the advantage of that is like it's running 24/7 even when you're asleep. So I mean, you can wake up in the morning, you're gonna have a lot. So that would be the advantage there. But for a single player, for what I'm doing, like for my race to 3 times, this is fucking nuts. So I mean, boom, right? And then this is such a you know, chill region. The enemies here aren't very high leveled at all. I think level 6, 5, 7, 10 at most. So it's like not really that bad to come here, and then it's really close to a fast travel point. So as you see here, I'm just using the grappling hook to kind of do the movement for me since I'm over encumbered. So now I have 1,000 metal, well 1,000 ore essentially, about a little bit less than 1,000 ore. And I was even really intentional with the box that I have to put it in. Like I spawn in and boom, right? So then like that was super quick. So that's how I get ore, and that's really reliable. And I do the coal pretty much the same way. This isn't the only coal spot. There is coal over here if you're into that, if you're into the heat. But I found it easier. There's quite a bit of coal up along here on these rocks in this particular region. There's quite a few clusters on those mountains, those hills, and I couldn't. Was relatively quick, but I wouldn't. This is a little bit more of a dangerous area, so I wouldn't feel comfortable doing what I just did there. So I did put down a box, which is just really just for me to transfer, and then like this is as simple as the same thing before, like so. Honestly, you're getting, because of my rates, you're getting so much. I mean, for one person, I'm not gonna need to do this like a ton. It's not like I'm coming back here a lot. And both of those runs, I mean, looks like it's gonna take less than 8 minutes. I'm sitting here talking while I'm doing it. And you need the coal. Why do you need the coal? You need the coal for a few reasons. You need the coal to make carbon fiber, which is used in a lot of products. You need the coal to make the refined metal ingots. You need forget what else you need coal for. I think those are the two main things you need coal for. Let's see, I wrote it down. Yeah, for the metal and then for the carbon fiber. So then once you have that solidified, like a way to get coal, a reliable way to get coal, reliable way to get ore, now you kind of fixed your metal issue, kind of your metal issue, carbon fiber issue. But now you would need to have a pal that excels at making this stuff. So what I can recommend, there's a couple pals I can recommend. Let me go to Fighter real quick. So you have, if you just look for tier 2, you got Arsox, and you can find him a couple places. You can find him here to this ravine. You can find him. Shit, I think you can find him up in here, this region. And you can also it's another spot you can get them. But those are the main two. Most of the fire pals are, you guessed it, in a volcano. There's these ones are insane. Kindling 2, but then he has the handiwork 3. So that's really why you're getting them. You got Pyrin, you can get over there. You also have Tiro, which is kind of dual action, fire and mining. So that's kind of the fire pals that you can kind of look at. There's other ones, but those are the ones that, you know, I was most interested in. So then that's like the main part of it. So then, you know, you got to have cement, which isn't something I have to worry about too much. I mean, if you're out and you're fighting, you're going to be knocking out creatures that give bones. A lot of the water pals drop pal fluid. But if you don't know where to get them, you can kind of come into here. You can see like what the pals drop. Is a good way to learn. So like, okay, he drops cloth. You just kind of looking to see. And what my little secret is that it's not even a secret. If you come here to Godfin's turf, there's just a ridiculous, and I really do mean ridiculous amount of Godfins. So you can come here, and I mean this is the area for pal fluid because there's so many. Come here with a grass pat, and you clean up. So you can pretty reliably power fluid this way. And for every type of element, there's a PAL that can make it where you drop when you kill that enemy, it drops like more or double or something like that. There's a PAL, I believe, like that for every element. So for all the normal types, there's a PAL that has that ability where it'll drop, and then for every single typing, I'm pretty sure there's a PAL that can make so you can like farm half as much or get twice as much for your farming. Bones, the same thing. I mean, you just can look and see it. It's not something I really worry about. Um, and then the last thing you need is pal oil. So if you're coming here and capturing the dew muds and the desert stuff, maybe mainly the dig toys. Let's see here, the dig toys. Like it drops. These guys drop quite a bit of pal oil, but I think what's better, you're already like for me, I'm already got to do 2 runs, 3 runs if I want. If I'm really low on power fluid, I have to do 3 runs already. Like I don't want to spend my time farming. I want to spend my time exploring, talking to you people. You people, I can't say that. You people, Lord have mercy. Okay, talking to you guys. So you need. So I don't want to really go out and defeat these different enemies. Also, Man Force also gives you an insane amount of power fluid as well, but that's like a very active way of doing it. You can because you're already capturing Dumud. If you drop him into the farm, and I think this is new because I don't think that this existed when I was playing it originally, but you can assign him to the ranch and he'll drop power oil like that because you need a lot of power oil. Where is it? Oh shit, I think I yeah. So I got this box here. So with the ranch, I don't think I explained that. So with the ranch, instead of them having to go to these boxes and jumble up over there, I just have them come here for the stuff that is produced at the ranch. And this is where all of the power oil is. Yeah, and then 2 of them is, I mean, it's producing quite a bit. Like I think it's like every 50 seconds or so drops out. So every minute, less than a minute, every 1 minute you get two oil. That's pretty good. And then the reason why you need the oil is because one, you use the oil itself and stuff, but more importantly is that it's used to make polymer. So now you can make nails. You got the ingots. You can make carbon fiber out of. I usually prefer the coal, but you can use charcoal. I just think the coal is easier to get because then you have to wait to burn the charcoal. And then you got polymer, so you have a lot of the materials that you need. Now, I don't personally use guns yet. I probably could start. I was considering uh, using the semi-auto rifle. It's kind of up my alley in line with the compound bow. But if you do decide to do that, then you're definitely going to need to make um, gunpowder. So you need charcoal and sulfur. The charcoal, you already know how to make that in the furnace. But with the sulfur, I think the easiest thing that you can really do is just come to the volcano. Um, there's sulfur in here. There's the different caves around here usually have sulfur as well, and you don't need like a ton. I think if you found like 3 or 4 nodes and you knock that down, each node is 120 because I think see where gunpowder is at. So yeah, for 100 sulfur, so you get 1 node of sulfur, you can make 100 gunpowder, a little bit over 100 gunpowder, and that gunpowder gets you 50, about a little bit, about 50 to 60 crafts of ammo. So for rifle ammo, for example, is what I'm most interested in. That would get me 50. That'll get me See, so it's extra gunpowder, and then you get 50 crafts times 5. So that's 250. That's so 250 ammo off of one node of sulfur. It ain't bad. I think that's respectable. And I mean, I'm never going out with more than like 150 arrows at a time, typically. So that's a good chunk. So like maybe that's why I say the volcano hit like 4 or 5 nodes, maybe six nodes. Probably not too many. Probably get like 3. It depends on what your carry capacity is. You could go out there with the intention of loading up, and then that's how you could like handle that part. So then that's kind of how you've gotten everything, and then now you can start to make the cool stuff once you basically got that all of those things. And then you got the cloth, so you do need wool still, but you got to make the high quality cloth. It just takes more wool to make than the regular cloth. um so then if you look, like, you start needing polymer. Now as you go farther and farther down, you start to see you need this circuit. And then all that is it takes polymer and quartz. And I'll talk about quartz here in a second, because that's really where I'm at. Is I'm starting to need that electrical. Everything's starting to become electrical, so I need the quartz now. If you see, because I have to make circuits. Let me get some food here. So now with the circuits, it's quite expensive. It takes 4 quartz and 2 polymer. So think of polymer as just oil. That's how you make it, the power oil. So that's actually 4 oil. So it takes 4 quartz and 4 oil to make a circuit, but you got to turn the oil and the polymer first. So it's a process. No doubt. It's a process. But this is kind of like that high end, component part that you need to like make a lot of like the really good stuff. So in order to make the furnace, the tier 3 kind of smelter, you need polymer, you need circuits, all the electrical stuff, circuits, and it's quite expensive. Um, so where you go for quartz is really in the snow. I got it marked here. This is the location. It's in the snow. There's some quartz here. I can show you what it looks like here in a second. But yeah, the quartz is kind of like that last, I'm gonna say, mid game material that you kind of need, like that late mid game material, because eventually we'll be over here at the Fay break, which is like the real new end game. Everything's in the Fay break, from what I understand. But uh, before Fay break, before all of that, the new stuff. Um, Once you get the quartz, I mean, you're cooking, and that's in the snow. It's hella cold. But you're prepared, because what you're gonna do, and I should have mentioned this before, is like if you go to the volcano, it's hot as hell. You really need to have heat resistant armor. If you go to volcano or the desert, you gotta have the heat resistance. And also, if you go to the desert at night, you still need the cold resistance, at least 2. So if you're going to somewhere hot, you need at least heat resistance level 2. Going somewhere cold, you need at least cold resistance level 2. Now, in addition to that, if you get lucky enough, if go on doing the cave spelunking or hitting those meteor drops, you can get these thermal shirts, which gives you another layer of protection. So if you got the dedicated armor plus that, I mean, you're not getting cold at all. So if you look, you can't even see it. Let me move my camera out of the way for a second. Okay, there we go. So if you look at the bottom left, you see the little dial. You see in that it's just red right now. That's like kind of like the temperature. And see, I still have a danger zone for red. Now, if I take that off, you'll see that now I have one bar where I can actually freeze. Then if I put the fire on and then it takes one away, and if I had on fire armor, I would have level 3 and it would take away all the bars. Because if you take off everything, you got 3 bars where you can, be cold in. So every time you have a resistance on level 1 or 2, it takes off, either 1 or 2 bars respectively. So now I can go anywhere, and I really do mean anywhere cold and be totally fine. Okay? So that's kind of the mid game. I know we didn't get to do much. I think that was kind of, I wanted to catch you guys up to, let me put my camera back on. I wanted to catch you guys up to exactly what I'm doing and kind of the thought process with the design of the base. And then I just think I had already done most of the beds. I got since I have some bigger pals, I got some of these bigger beds as well. Total of 20 pals can, it's the max for my base, and then I have a little bed for myself tucked away. The last thing, and please indulge before going over the 30 minutes, is the research. So it's kind of like bonuses or permanent like investment into your base. Oh well, I think this works for all of your bases. So you got each of the different work suitabilities that you can. So it takes somebody to do handiwork to do research. So how it works is like you come over here and then you just like different effects that you can get into. I like to go for all of the research first, the research speed, because it makes the rest of the tree go faster later. So it's like an investment early. And then when you research it, it puts, you know, or whatever, a smelter kindling, and then the guys come in here and then they do the research like that. Now, once that fully finishes, then you get whatever bonus you were going for. So I mainly only did handiwork. I didn't want to get too far in this, but you can see the bonuses are legit. So you get 20% more work speed for all your handiwork people. You get extra additional effects like when you craft stuff, less materials, you get a chance to craft additional materials. Super legit. And you can have more than one of them, so it goes a lot faster when you have more than one. So I just put two. I think that was an appropriate number. Um, because they're doing this instead of doing some of the other tasks. I didn't want. I think three would have been inappropriate. But that's kind of my base. It's kind of a hybrid base. I have just the right amount of farming that I need for what I'm making here. I got a decent smelting operation, decent cooking operation, decent electrical. Um, there's not a lot of good options for electrical pals. So what I did was that was dang, that was almost crazy work. What I did was is that there's like these sanctuaries. There's one on each one of the corners, like boom, bam, boom, something like that. And then what I did was I just swam, fly technically. I fly over here, and then you can catch some pretty unique uh, pals there. So if you go to your Palpedia, like you can catch him there. You go to Habitat, you can see that some of these higher end pals don't spawn on the main one, they spawn kind of off to the side. So like that's how I was able to get Azuro. Like a lot of the pals that I'm using in my base did pretty much come from that area. this one as well, Grisbolt. And with Grisbolt, he's got level 3, so I felt like that would be better than going to the desert and just getting a level 2. So it's easier to get over there too. They have to be careful. Like you're not really supposed to be there. So if the police find you there, they're going to try to kill you. It's considered a sanctuary off limits. But yeah, that's how I got some of the better pets. I got the Pin King from there too. Not this one. This one's like the bigger one. But if you a normal size Pin King with comes from there as well. But that's my base. Hopefully you enjoyed the. I'm gonna call this a base showcase and kind of how to get a base to look kind of like Daka's. But those are kind of the concepts that I'm going for. Is like it's really about having a way to get to the materials that you need. And then now we're ready. In the next video, we'll probably just explore a little bit. Maybe go to the north, the real north, and we'll see you in the next one.